Hey there, beautiful. Welcome to Dr. Sarah's Cafe. This is your weekly refill where we get a chance to blend the wonderful ingredients of astrology, tarot, oracle, a little bit of inspiration and creativity to understand what's the unique flavor of this week ahead for all of us. So, welcome to my returning subscribers and viewers. And if you're new here, I'm excited that you're joining us. Remember that the easiest way to support this channel is to give the video a thumbs up if you like anything that you hear or see today. Now, our flavor of the week is lavender. Lavender. I remember the first time I had a lavender latte. It was so good. It was a cold brew latte, which I typically don't do. I typically don't do iced lattes. I am a hot beverage girly, okay? Drinking my dandelion detox tea today. But I have enjoyed lavender drinks, lavender teas, and lattes ever since. I think that was a few years ago when I was living in Illinois. But lavender has a special purpose, a special use that I think is going to benefit us this week. And so I want to read a little bit about the benefits, some of the benefits of lavender from Karen M. Rose, who is the author of this book, The Art and Practice of Spiritual Herbalism. And this is one of the books I have linked in the shop at drsarahscafe.com. So you can order a copy if you're really interested in learning more about plant medicine. But when it comes to lavender, Karen M. Rose says, lavender's protective and calming energy acts on thoughts and protects from repetitive negativity and harsh self-criticism. It teaches self-love and brings peace. Okay, so if you have lavender essential oils or lavender plants or even the color lavender, right, bringing that flavor into your week, reaching out for even lavender body washes and soaps and things like that can really help to infuse your day, your vibe, your week with a little bit of calm, with a little bit of positivity, combating any negative self-talk, any negativity from others around you, and bring a little bit more peace and calm. Yeah. All right, now let's talk about the ingredients that have made up this flavor and why I concocted this as the flavor of the week. It starts with the astrology, as always. The first thing is Mercury, Sun, Cazimi on September 30th. Also, happy October. Welcome to October. We're in the last quarter of the year officially. But the Mercury, Sun, Cazimi, and Libra, as I mentioned before, when we talked about this conjunction, the meeting of the sun and Mercury in the sky, called a Cazimi, is a time for epiphanies, awakenings, awareness, deeper insights, right? Being able to see truth clearly, getting clear communication, information, insights, your thoughts, your ideas sort of hone in to the necessary facts and insights that are needed for whatever's up ahead. And whatever's up ahead is pretty big. It is a new moon solar eclipse in the sign of Libra. So I've done a whole video just on that astrological event, on the new moon solar eclipse in Libra. So I will link to it in the description box below so you can take a look at that. But eclipses are surprising, they're shocking, and they often reveal things. Things come to light, pivots are made, changes are made, new situations come in, old situations suddenly end, or any number of things can happen on an eclipse. And so to have that so soon after the Mercury, Sun, Cazimi, and Libra, I think might lend itself to a week of a lot of awakenings, a lot of sudden awareness, a lot of unexpected truth coming through and clarity coming through, a lot of changes and shifts in both attitude, but also behavior and lifestyle, so many things, right? And so as you can see already, just with these first two astrological events earlier in the week, we might need some lavender. We might need to remind ourselves to be self-loving and reduce some of the self-criticism, and we might need to infuse a little bit more calm, a little bit more peace in our lives just in the first part of the week. But there are two more things happening later the week on the 4th and the 5th. On the 4th, we have Venus in Scorpio trining Saturn in Pisces. Now, this is actually pretty pleasant. Venus is not super comfortable in the sign of Scorpio. Planets have certain zodiac signs that they like to be in, that they are really, really a good vibe match for. And so Venus in Scorpio is not the best vibe match. However, it's still Venus, right? It's still Venus. It's still the planet of beauty and love and grace and good things, goodness, right? It's a benefic planet. And a trine is a positive aspect. A trine is a 120-degree angle. So when planets are circling around the sun and they get to about 120 degrees apart from each other, that's what's called a trine in astrology. So Venus will be approximately 120 degrees away from Saturn in Pisces, and that is considered a very benefic, beneficial angle to have, right? And so even though Saturn is known for being the tough love kind of planet, being the planet that is associated with restrictions and limitations and rules and regulations and discipline and time and boundaries, right? Because it's making a positive aspect to a positive planet, I think it kind of makes the energy more subtly positive, more subtly beneficial. And a Venus trine Saturn connection could represent things that last a long time, right? And so I've heard astrologers say that a marriage or a relationship that has Venus trining Saturn or Venus conjunct Saturn tends to have like a long-term love or a long-term romance, because Saturn is about age. It wants us to mature and grow old and build solid foundations for the long term. So we can think about this as whatever it is you love, whatever it is you're pouring your heart to, whatever it is you're investing in or trying to care for, that positive aspect to Saturn helps to infuse it with just a little bit more longevity, right? A little bit more patience, a little bit more stability and solidness, so that it hopefully can last a significant amount of time or however long you want it to, right? And then at the end of the week, we have Mercury in Libra squaring Mars in Cancer. And so I think to end with this kind of difficult aspect. So while a trine is considered a favorable aspect, a square is considered one of the most difficult, if not the most difficult aspect. And so a square, just like it sounds, is when planets are 90 degrees apart from each other. So they're intersecting, like their orbits intersect. And you can think about a T-bone, like one planet T-boning the other planet, right? It doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound like it's very, very comfortable or easy. However, there's still potential. As I mentioned, my approach to sharing the astrology and the tarot is always for inspiration and support and guidance, and how we can leverage and use and try to harness the power in the sky, the power in these planets that are impacting us and influencing life here on Earth to support our evolution, to support our healing, to support our growth. Okay. So, Mercury being the planet of communication, and it's in a sign that rules relationships. Okay, so just be careful about what you say. Be careful about how you're talking, how you're communicating. Be careful about the text that you're sending, the things you're posting on social media, the emails you send. To be a little bit more mindful this week about those things, because Mars in Cancer is often angry tears, often very, very volatile emotions, being like angry crying is one of the best ways I've heard Mars and Cancer being described, like angry crying, being so angry that you're crying, right? And so you can imagine, like in the context of conversations where one person is so angry that they're crying, they're brought to tears, and it could just be some tension. And again, this is not necessarily a prediction, it's just the archetype or the theme of this. And so that tool of lavender, or that tool of meditation, that tool of going for a run, that resource of booking a therapy session for that week or for the following week, right? The resource of, checking out that self-help book from the library or scheduling a spa day, that weekend or whatever. Use your tools and your resources and strategically place them for moments where the astrology might suggest challenges, right? Or hiccups or a little bit of rough waters. But the way that you can harness a Mercury in Libra square Mars and Cancer, so it's not just being prepared to meet this energy, it's also, if I wanted to try and use this energy, how could I do it? If you are if you have a lot of dexterity with how you communicate, if you are trained in the art of communication, whether it be writing or speaking, and you are very self aware, you are very grounded and very centered, then this could be very powerful communication. This could be very effective communication, communication that lands, communication that establishes the boundary, communication that says, this is what I'm passionate about, this is my unwavering faith or belief, right? This is my calling card, this is my manifesto, right? And so you can use that, especially, and I think it might be helpful in a writing project because writing allows space for contemplation and revision, right? Whereas just being in the heat of a conversation or an argument or just quickly, shooting off some text or messages on threads or, we're not even going to mention the other platform. You might be in the moment not thinking or caught up in your emotions, right? And so using this for a form of communication where there's practice, there's deliberation, there's a deliberate attention to word choice and to intonation and that sort of thing, then the outcome could be immensely powerful and impactful and really drive home like a larger point, okay? And the tarot ingredients, I'm going to take a sip of my detox tea while it's still warm. It's good. Okay, tarot ingredients. The Mother of Coins, we have two. So the first one is coming from the Hoodoo Tarot deck, as I've been doing all month, and it's the Mother of Coins. And if you just look at this image, it is such a lovely image. I'm like, I'm here for it. Like, yes, sis, let's rest. Let's put our little eye patch on and or whatever that thing is called that you put on your eyes. Clearly, I've never used one, but the flowers and you got your pets and you got your, comfortable pillows and you're just chilling. You're just in your own space and you're really practicing self-care. And I want to say that the Queen of Pentacles, aka the Mother of Coins in this deck, is literally the queen of self-care. She is the queen of self care. You hear me? You better rest. You better take your personal day. Okay. You better run that bubble bath. You better burn that candle. You better go get a massage when you see the Mother of Coins come out. Okay. But I think it's especially obvious in this deck. The depiction of the Queen of Coins in this deck makes that self-care connection that much more front and center, right? Is that much more important coming out from the Hoodoo Tarot deck, which I have here. Also linked in the bookshop as well. And then Tiana Lee McQuillar is the author, and then the artist, so the illustrator, is Catalin Foisy, I think is how you say their names. I do want to read Tiana's description of the Mother of Coins in the guidebook. So each card has a plant association with it. And for Mother of Coins, we got jasmine and lavender. So yes, this card is a big reason why I chose the flavor of the week to be lavender. And just some of the meaning as she describes it is the Mother of Coins is all about investing time and energy to improve one's quality of life. On the positive side, she's an animal lover, in tune with nature, caring, practical, resourceful, body positive, freely expresses warmth and keeps her word. Okay. So I love that first sentence. The Mother of Coins is all about investing time and energy to improve one's quality of life. Okay, that includes your mental health, your physical health, all the things. Now, the second card that came out was the bottom of the deck card, and it's so appropriate for the lavender flavor of the week because that self-care with Father Sims, which is the temperance card in more traditional tarot decks, is all about peace, all about finding that balance, finding that harmony, finding and flowing with the natural rhythms of your life, of your energy, of your personal cycles, right? And just getting in tune, getting in flow. It's also a card of healing. It is a card of patience. I've mentioned that some people call it the slow cooker crockpot card. It is about taking your time, all the good things, right? I also want to read a little bit from the guidebook here in the author's words, the words herself. So, as she describes the meaning of Father Sims, aka temperance, for people who read other tarot decks, When Father Sims comes up in a reading, it's asking you to review your position regarding your inquiry. If you've taken an extreme or one sided position, now's the time to consider things from a more balanced perspective. Now, for me, this is hearkening back to Mercury in Libra, squaring Mars in Cancer. Remember, I mentioned it could be like a heated argument, a debate, some, conversation or some form of communication that kind of runs away with itself and not a great way. This is the temperance is helping us to temper our energy, the energy that we bring to those conversations this week. Things do not have to be black and white, so don't force it to be. If you have been asked to compromise or cooperate, but you feel resistant to the idea, this card is a good sign that you haven't considered all the aspects of the situation. If you've been asked to give someone an answer, don't respond until you feel more centered. Okay? To do otherwise may cause deep regret and feelings to be hurt unnecessarily. Try to be fair. And so to me, that's just screaming the Mercury, the planet of communication, in the sign of relationships, Libra, squaring, making a difficult, challenging aspect to Mars, the planet of aggression and war and battle, in the sign of Cancer, which is a really emotional, really deeply emotional sign, right? So needing that temperance, needing to take a breath in any conversations you might be having this week and just say, ooh, let me come back. Let me come back to that. Let me not respond to that email on the fly. Okay, let's continue. So in addition to the tarot ingredients, we have divinity leaves. We have an oracle message. I'm going to take another sip of my tea, excuse me. It's good. It's really good. I'm going to keep it right here in front of me so I can keep my hands warm while I talk. So the tea leaves oracle message is from the African Goddess Rising deck by Abiola Abrams. And it is a figure, a goddess who has been demonized and stigmatized throughout mythology and lore in various cultures. So, just a heads up, we are fully embracing this energy, and it is Medusa. And the idea behind Medusa is rage. Okay. So, as you look at this beautiful artwork, Abiola Abrams's decks always have such beautiful artwork. The colors are always so vibrant, and just the imagery, the painting. Of course, I love the representation of brown, beautiful brown skin in various shades. So yeah, let's take a look at what the author Abiola Abrams has to say about Medusa and her rage. Medusa is feared as an ugly, vicious monster. B.I., you know the rest. The truth, this Libyan Berber dark goddess of wisdom's rage is sacred, epic, and fully justified. Medusa's shadow guidance. You are pissed off and petrified, angry and shaking. But underneath that, you are hurt and heartbroken. Feeling undervalued is overwhelming. You can't stay silent anymore. Let your joys, hopes, and beauty rage on. Embodiment. Take a breath, close your eyes, and put both hands over your lower abdomen. Tune into the part of you that feels out of control. Flood it with loving, healing, golden light. Now put both hands over your heart and do the same. You have a right to your full range of emotions, including anger. Sacred rage inspires us to run for office, lead protests, and shift policies. But unhealthy rage can devour your soul. Get clear on what is really happening. Allow yourself to feel your feelings, to see the truth. Just because you feel threatened doesn't mean you are being threatened. And the goddess declaration says, I have a right to feel my feelings. Well, I mean, that's just a beautiful reflection. I love her description, how she explains this, how she describes this energy of Medusa with rage. And a couple of things I'll say just in my practices elsewhere. Um, there's there's often conversations about embracing rage and sacred rage and righteous anger. And my fear for a lot of historically marginalized groups, especially Black women, is that we haven't been taught what to do with that rage. We haven't been taught how to channel it in a way that isn't self-destructive, in a way that doesn't lead to physical illness or mental health breakdowns, right? And so just be cautious before taking up the mantle of anger and rage. Be cautious that you have a way to ground it. Be cautious that you have a method or a system or a process or a practice in place that helps you move the rage through your body and out and release it, because it's not enough to just feel the rage. You have to expel it. You have to release it. You have to move it through your body. Rage and anger can literally make us sick, make us physically sick. Internal rage, rage that just sits and festers within the psyche, within the body, will cause damage to our bodies. And my concern is that for all the people saying, yes, be angry, feel your anger, tap into your anger, there's not enough discussion about how to then release it once you have felt it and not hold on to it. How to then allow it to flow through you instead of remaining trapped inside of you. And just the common truth that if you feel anger all day, every day, that more has to be done than merely feeling the anger. If you're feeling angry all day, every day, then it's time to begin addressing the situations, the context, the conditions that create that sense of anger, and cultivating, finding, developing practices, processes, lifestyles that allow you to experience the full range of emotions, all of the many beautiful, wonderful, useful, effective, brilliant, powerful emotions besides anger. Because what I want for Black women is the option to feel so much more than just anger. That's my little soapbox, okay? But going back to the flavor of the week and the astrology, particularly being a significant, ingredient for that flavor of the week, I'm thinking about this that Mercury in Libra square Mars in Cancer, if it is a conversation, if it is a relationship situation or dynamic that has you feeling angry, what Abiola Abrams says is you are pissed off and petrified. So, one of the things about anger is that you have to be honest and reflect on what's behind your anger, what sits underneath your anger, what fuels your anger. Is it fear? Is it heartbreak? Is it a sense of betrayal? Is it a sense of loneliness? Is it a sense of sadness? Right? And so I don't think we need to romanticize and glorify anger or rage as something, as a feeling or emotion that's more than any other feeling or emotion, right? We don't need to stigmatize it or try to repress it, but I don't think, me personally, that it's helpful to romanticize anger either. Okay? Now, the to go or the takeaway. Oh wait, oh no. I'm skipping ahead. The pastry and the poetry is coming from a Libran poet. Happy birthday to any Libras out there. Intozake Shange. One of her short poems, Senses of Heritage. And as I was looking for poems of hers on the internet, a lot of them are really long. I could have done excerpts, but I was like, I just want to find like one short piece. And so I found one, thankfully, and it's titled Senses of Heritage by Intozake Shange. Yes, the famous author of For Colored Girls Who Have Considered Suicide When the Rainbow Is Enough, a choreo poem, aka a book written in verse that's meant to be performed or danced on stage. Lovely, lovely work. If you are not familiar with her, if you haven't heard of her, definitely check that out. I recommend the book and maybe some of the plays, stage plays, more so than the movie that Tyler Perry made. That's just me though. Again, you do you. Watch what you want to watch. And then our pastry is lavender cupcakes. Very, very nice lavender cupcakes. So, Senses of Heritage by Intozake Shange, a Libran poet. My grandpa was a doughboy from Carolina, the other a Garveyite from Lakewood. I got talked to about the race and achievement, about color and propriety, Nobody spoke to me about the moon. Daddy talked about music and mama about Christmas. And my sisters, we always talked and talked. There was never quiet. There were trees were status symbols. I've taken to fog, the moon still surprising me. I love this poem for so many reasons. One, the idea of conversations, the idea of talk. Being Mercury ruled myself, I like talk, I like the conversation, but it is the the insertion of the moon energy that I think really resonates with where I am in my life and career and with this channel, right? Dr. Sarah's Cafe and the work that I'm, called to do here. That line where she says, I got talked to about the race and achievement, about color and propriety. Nobody spoke to me about the moon. I feel that. I feel that in so many ways. And I feel like in some ways in the previous iteration of my professional life, I have also talked about all these other things and have neglected to talk to people about the moon. Oh, but never again, never no more, my dears. We are here very much talking about the moon. Okay. And I love the last line, the moon still surprising me, because one of my videos about the beauty of astrology is how it always keeps me connected to that awe and wonder of the creation, the awe and wonder of the cosmos, the universe, the awe and wonder of divine, of God, of the spirit realm, right? The moon still makes me gasp, still makes me take a sharp breath in, right? A sharp inhale, and still makes my eyes widen. And I still crane my neck up at the sky, usually when I'm driving and I have to like tilt my head at a weird angle to see through the window. um, yeah, I think speaking to, for me and a lot of us, I think, who watch this, our awareness of all that is in life and society, including things like discrimination and, you know, practical day-to-day things and history and, you know, what it takes to be alive on earth. Us, we still deeply, deeply, deeply want to remain connected to the curiosity and the awe and the wonder of the cosmos, of the moon, of the stars, of our own spiritual essence. That's my vibe tribe, right? And I feel like if you're watching this, you might be along a similar wavelength, okay? Now let's get to the to go, the takeaway. I like I started out with affirmations, but I'm liking questions. Let me know what you think. Do you like the affirmations or the questions? I'll probably do a mix of both, to be honest, but I'm curious to know like which one you find most helpful, leaving you with a to go question or a takeaway affirmation. And maybe I could start doing both. Okay. Anyway, the question is, what are my healthy forms of relaxation? What are my healthy forms of relaxation? And I use the clarifier of healthy because for me, self-care is different than escapism. And I've said this in another video, and I think escapism has its place, right? But true self-care for me makes you better equipped to face whatever situation you're dealing with. It makes you better equipped, better empowered, more energized, more ready, more capable, more centered, more grounded for facing life's challenges. Whereas escapism allows you to forget about life's challenges, but it takes you back to square one. Like you're not any better at facing the challenge than you were before you engage in that act of escapism. And to be honest, when I think about things like addictions and things like alcoholism, a lot of times you exacerbate the challenges. A lot of times you make your situation worse. You diminish. Not only do you just have a net zero gain in capacity, you actually diminish and have a lower capacity to meet life as your best self when you engage in certain types of escapism. And so, healthy forms of relaxation to me is what self care is really about. It's not just, let me engage in these coping mechanisms that one either leave me no better off or unfortunately might even leave me worse off, right? With that, my dears, I pray and hope that this has helped to refill your spiritual cup. Be sure to click the like button. Check out drsarahscafe.com if you want more of this kind of flavor. And I hope to see you in another video. Be sure to check out the solar eclipse videos that I have as well. Take care.